Hi, you're watching Movie Guide, and I'm your host, Evie Bear, and we're in New York City for the movie The 33, and I literally just stepped out of the device they used to save the miners in Chile. Take a look at some of the cast and crew interviews.
33 men on the ground, 300 mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and we are their only hope.
I believe we'll make it out of here because I choose to believe it! All 33 of us!
So talk about meeting the real Mario.
He's a force of nature. He helped me a lot to actually understand what happened there, to understand him, and to try to resume it, to just to squeeze him into a juice that actually makes sense, trying to be honest with his persona and what he did. And basically, he said something that was already reflected on the script. Yeah, I'm not a hero, I'm a human being. I made mistakes down there, I know that I saved the life of many people, but at the same time, I made mistakes, and the movie is going to be fair with that, and I'm fine with that. So it was okay. It was very interesting conversation, So that's one of the things that we talk about in the movie. He helps people, but at the same time, he's a human being. He can make mistakes like everybody else. The final, message that I think is attached to the movie is how beautiful life is, and how much we take it for granted sometimes. How important is just the hug of your mother, of your daughter, of the people that you really love.
But they also had a very strong faith. Can you talk about how that was an important element of getting through the situation?
Yeah, they have faith in the fact that they were going to survive, but they have faith, also religious faith. So they pray a lot, and they were very dedicated to that. They're very religious people in a way, And I suppose that, I know that professions that are actually close to death or close to dangers, people are very religious.
Why is your character so persistent about protecting her brother?
She always believed, and she told me that she always believed that they were alive. Always. Wow. She had no doubt whatsoever. Because there's a believer in her. I think probably because going through terrible situation as a childhood, that it happens with children. They grow with faith. Mm-hmm. And when she went in front of this gate, when not having answers, she knew somehow she had to pursue, to go ahead, to yell as much as she needed to, but she was a force of nature.
What fuels your optimism, your character's optimism? Because he has so much optimism about the situation.
Well, the fuel are the families, what they feel. They are the ones that inspired him and teach him. But it's interesting because then there's a real journey for this character and a real transformation that I think he becomes a better person at the end.
Yeah. Now, how does the faith impact the whole situation for really everybody's?
Their courage, first of all, because they were really strong and brave, and yes, hope is a big thing for this film. I think that if you think about it, being 700 meters under the ground with a mega stone twice the size of the Empire State Building on top of your head, what are the odds that you're gonna get out of there alive?
Your character has a moment, he's kind of defeatist attitude. What kind of changes that for him?
I mean, Don Lucio was just the shift supervisor. He knew the mine better than anyone. He knew the logistics that they were facing. I mean, the odds of rescue were astronomical. I mean, this is a miraculous story, the fact that all three of these men survived. But in that moment, not only is he reverberating under the collapse and what happened and feeling a huge amount of guilt for that, because in truth, historically, Don Lucio, he registered complaints. He filled out the forms. He said, this needs to be checked, that needs to be checked. It was swept under the carpet by management. And he had no recourse. There was nothing else he could do other than lose his job. And so he's dealing with that kind of guilt. He's dealing with that responsibility. And yet, filmically, in a cinematic sense, he's the one who has to articulate the pessimism. He's the one that has to articulate the doubt. What I hope comes through in my portrayal of him is that even though in those moments, he does seem to be the naysayer. He's presenting the opposing voice to Antonio Banderas's Mario Sepúlveda. He never loses faith. He never loses hope. He never gives up. We never see him, roll into a ball and die. As a matter of fact, the real Luis Ursúa was constantly checking the blueprints, making sure there was something that he didn't miss. Is there another way out of here? Is there some way, some shortcut that we can take other than the 2,500 meters that they have to dig down? So even though he wasn't as verbal or as showboaty about his faith, I don't think that the real Luis Ursúa ever gave up.
Say something.
See you, old man. Up there.